Welcome, dear listener, to Spirituality in the Brain. I am Vanessa Anceloni, your host, and this segment is about bridging the latest findings of neuroscience with the teachings of Spiritism. Today we're talking about how emotions affect our physical body. In November of 2013, a new study was released by Finnish researchers which was published in the Proceedings of the National Academies of Sciences, suggesting that our emotions do tend to influence our bodies in consistent ways. Across 5 experiments, 701 participants presented 2 silhouettes of bodies alongside emotional words, stories, movies, and facial expressions. They were asked to color the bodily regions whose activity they felt increasing or decreasing while viewing each stimulus. The emotions were generated by having the subjects read short stories or watch movies. On a blank, computerized figurine, they were then asked to color in the areas of their body where sensations became stronger when they felt a certain way. And thus, they observed that anger was felt mostly in the upper body, fear mostly in the chest, disgust mostly in the gut, happiness mostly in the face and the chest area, anxiety most felt in the chest, love felt throughout the body until the hip area, from head to the hip area, depression depleted the energy of the person, making it not be felt necessarily in any secure part but mostly in the limbs, contempt mostly in the face, pride in the upper body, shame mostly in the head, envy mostly in the head, sadness mostly parts of the face and the chest, surprise mostly in the head and the chest, while somebody feeling neutral, it didn't show anything in the body. The mapping exercise produced what you might expect: an angry hot head, a happy person lighted up all the way through their fingers and toes. A depressed figurine was literally blue. Almost all of the emotions generated changes in the head area, suggesting smiling, frowning, as skin temperature changes, while feelings like joy and anger saw upsticks in the limbs, perhaps because you're ready to hug or punch your interlocutor. Meanwhile, sensations in the digestive system and around the throat area were mainly found in disgust. It's worth noting that bodily sensations weren't blood flow, heat, or anything else. This study is still one particular study that shows firsthand this correlation between emotions and body. Science still has a long way to understand the whole 9 yards of how emotions affect the body, but one thing we know, spiritually speaking, that as we are spirits, our emotions can imprint in the physical body its impressions. And if we go to the Gospel according to Spiritism, chapter 9, which is about blessed are the meek and the peace-loving, on items 9 and 10, you're gonna find precisely this type of discussion brought in by Allan Kardec in 1864. Especially the message from the Spirit Hahnemann, the father of homeopathy. He says the following: according to the very wrong idea that one cannot reform one's own nature, humans think they are to be excused from putting forth the effort to correct their defects, in which they delight or which would require too much perseverance to amend. It is thus, for example, that individuals inclined towards anger nearly always blame it on their temperament. Before regarding themselves as blameworthy, they blame their faults on their body, thus accusing God for their misdeeds. This is a further consequence of the pride that may be found mixed in with all their imperfections. Of course, there are temperaments that lend themselves more than others to violence, just as there are more flexible muscles that lend themselves better to acts of strength. Nonetheless, do not believe the primary cause of anger is to be found there. Rather, be convinced that a peace-loving spirit and ill-tempered body will always be peace-loving. whereas a violent spirit in a lymphatic body will not thereby be meeker. Instead, the violence will only take on a different character. By not having a suitable organism to second its violence, anger will be more concentrated, whereas in the former instance it will be more expansive. Thus, the body does not cause anger in persons who do not already have it, just as it does not cause the other vices. All virtues and all vices are inherent to the spirit. Otherwise, where would the merit and responsibility be? A physically handicapped person cannot make him or herself whole because his or her spirit has nothing to do with it. But this person can change what is of the spirit if he or she has a firm will. My fellow spiritists, does experience not show you how far the power of will can go in light of the truly miraculous transformations that you see happening? So tell yourselves that humans do not remain vice-prone unless they want to remain vice-prone. Those who want to correct themselves always can. Otherwise, there would be no law of progress for human beings. This is a message by Hahnemann in 1863, published in the Gospel According to Spiritism. Dear listener, here we have the Spiritist takes on emotions in the physical body. As we are spirits, we feel the emotions, and as we are connected to our physical bodies, these emotions vibrate and impact on the constitution of our physical body. So, certainly, the body is not blameworthy, and we need really a lot of emotional intelligence to adjust our emotions so it does not impact on our physical health. A lot of food for thought, dear listeners. Science and Spiritism walking hand in hand towards the well-being of humanity. If you have any questions or suggestions, please write to us at cardiacradio.com. We have a contact form and we'll be happy to hear from you. In the meantime, please keep feeling the blessings of God.